There was no way until you made one. And grace upon grace, hallelujah. And even though I don't deserve it, you did it. And even though I couldn't earn it, you give it.
Good morning, church. Welcome. It's going to be a great day. I am so grateful for what God is doing here at The Rock and in our lives and in the lives of so many people that hear about from all of you. So thanks for being here on this last Sunday of the year. Let's continue along in worship.
Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand when everything around me is shaken. I've never been more glad that I put my faith in Jesus, 'cause He's never let me down. He's faithful through generations. So why would He fail now? He won't
walking around these walls. I thought by now they'd fall, but you have never failed me yet. Waiting for change to come, knowing the battle's won. For you have never failed me yet. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You've never failed me yet. And I know the night won't last. Your word will come to pass, and my heart will sing your praise again. Jesus, you're still enough. Keep me within your love. My heart will sing your praise again. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never fail. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never failed me yet. I've seen you move the mountains, and I believe I'll see you do it again. You made a way where there was no way, and I believe I'll see you do it again. I've seen you move the mountains, and I believe I'll see you do it again. You made a way where there was no way, and I believe I'll see you do it again. I've seen you move the mountains, and I believe I'll see you do it again. You made a way where there was no way, and I believe I'll see you do it again. I'll see you do it again. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You've never failed.
stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never failed me yet. And you've never failed me yet. And I never will forget. No, you've never failed me yet. And I never will forget.
God of Abraham, you're the God of covenant and of faith promises. Yes. And time again, you have proven you'll do just what you said. Though the storms may come and the winds may blow, I will remain steadfast. And let my heart learn when you speak a word, it will come to pass. And great is your faithfulness to me. And great is your faithfulness to me. Amen. You guys, thank you so much for worshiping with me not hitting those high notes. Woo, I've lost my voice. I'm really glad you guys are here. Why don't you take a seat? We'll get started. Good morning. I feel like I just saw you guys. I hope you had a good Christmas. We had a fantastic Christmas. My kids and I had a really, really lovely day. There was rest involved, which was kind of magical. I don't know if you guys have experienced that before. That was my first time, and it was awesome. So for those of you who are new here, my name is Rebecca. I'm one of the teaching pastors here at The Rock, and I'm really glad that you found yourself in the room, or I'm glad that you have returned, or I'm glad you've been here for 18 years, like John and Lee. Holy smokes, isn't that amazing? John told me that this morning, and I almost passed out. 18 years is pretty remarkable faithfulness to community, so it's pretty awesome. Hey, over the last few weeks, I have been thinking and pondering through some things, and one of the things that's been noodling around in my spirit is that change rarely announces itself. Have you guys noticed this? It's like most of the time you don't realize a season has ended until you look back and think, that was it. That was the moment things started to shift, and they started to change, and they started to morph. And at the time, it didn't feel dramatic. You can look back and think, okay, there were no trumpets, and there was no fanfare, fireworks, or a big announcement, because change usually comes quite quietly. Comes through endurance. Sometimes it comes through the choice to just keep doing the next right thing, even when you're really tired, even when you're really exhausted and worn out. And it's only later that you realize, I didn't just survive that season, I was transformed by it. I've been changed. I'm someone new. And so here we are, we're 3 days away from a new year. For some of you, that feels like really good news. You're really hopeful for what's ahead. You're ready. You're excited for what God may have in the upcoming year. But for others of you, the year is not ending the way that you had hoped. And in fact, the year didn't go quite the way you had hoped. And so maybe the year isn't even finishing. It's just like, you're just kind of like, I don't even have words to describe how I'm feeling. I survived it. I'm here. Yay me. That's kind of how you're feeling. Yeah, some of you are carrying some unanswered prayers. Some of you are carrying some unresolved grief and lament and loss. Some of you are really burdened right now by this sort of financial climate that we're in. I had chatted with a couple ladies this morning about that very thing. And so I want to say this very gently, but as honestly as I can. I hope you hear my heart. But as a staff, we are ending this year in that disappointment camp as well. We had hoped to finish this year with way more clarity than we find ourselves sitting in this morning. We had hoped to be further along in some really important conversations, and yet we survived it. Yay, we're here. One of those disappointments is that we had high hopes for the possibility of changing our church name. We had chatted with you briefly about that, and then we had planned to share that and announce that today. But we are ending the year without that change because after some prayer and some discernment and reflection, we realized that the timing was not appropriate for that change. There were more voices that really wanted to weigh in to this decision. And so it's a good thing. More listening needs to happen. We need to slow down. And so we've decided to sort of hit pause on that conversation. That's not to say that that's not to come, but we felt a stay from the Lord, and so we're listening and heeding. In the same way, as a church, we are not ending this year in a place of financial stability that we had hoped for. We've had some unexpected hiccups along the way, and rather than resolving themselves, those financial issues have escalated.
And so it's been wildly disheartening for our team. This isn't because we were careless or we lacked wisdom. It's just because sometimes obedience, God asks you to put your hand to the plow, and we're in it. That's where we are. Behind the scenes, this has meant some pretty massive changes for our church staff family. Some have stepped back from ministry entirely. Some have gone down to part-time to accommodate that, and others are carrying even heavier workloads and taking more on pretty consistently, adjusting schedules, giving in new ways for the ministry to continue. So we have been working creatively. We have been working as faithfully as we can, and there has been tension, and it has been tough. And so I know you've sat with us the last couple months, and you've heard some whispers. Some of you attended that family meeting that we held. And honestly, it's just been a journey. We're doing the best that we can to love and honor one another as we navigate, a challenging climate for our church family. And so truthfully, I feel like we're ending this year ready for it to be done, and we're ready to turn into a new year with hope. And so this morning, as I thought, gosh, what in the world, God, do you want me to speak on as we close out the year? I felt like a story from Joshua chapter 4 would be beneficial for us to unpack. It has been so kind to me personally in the last few weeks as I have done my own time with the Lord, wrestling through some of these challenges. And I've been navigating my own role here and ways that I can go part-time and shift some things around to help out where I can. And so it's a fantastic text. I'm looking forward to unpacking it for you, and hopefully it will bring us a lot of hope as we head into this new year. So let me pray for us, and we'll get into Joshua chapter 4. God, I thank you so much for being a God who is faithful. I feel like every single song we just sang was like, hey, just a reminder to myself and to everybody, God, you're awesome. You've never failed us. You are faithful. This is who you are. We can depend on this. You always fulfill your promises. I have seen that time and time again in my own story, and I know there are numerous stories in the room of your faithfulness. But sometimes, God, we miss it. You feel far off. You feel distant. And we find ourselves wandering in the wilderness. And so I pray as we get into this text this morning that you would give us hope, remind us that you are a God of miracles, and you have intent, and you have purpose, and we can trust in you. It's in Jesus' name, amen. Okay, so to really get into Joshua chapter 4, we need a little backstory. Who doesn't love a little Bible backstory? Anybody? No? Okay, everybody loves it. Okay, great. So the people of God, the Israelites, were living in Egypt. And the way they found themselves in Egypt was back in the time of their ancestors, including Joseph, there was a famine. And so they moved to Egypt because that's where the food was. And so over time, the family of God, the Jewish people, the Israelites, grew in number. And they became a large and a very strong nation. And Pharaoh became afraid of their numbers and their strength, and so he enslaved the people of God. And they were forced to work under really harsh conditions. They lost their freedom, they lost their dignity, and God saw their suffering. And so he decided to send a rescuer, and he sent this guy named Moses, and he sent Moses to lead them out of Egypt. And so through a series of miracles, including 10 plagues, which is a random fun story, God delivered them from slavery, and he brought them safely across the Red Sea. He parted the waters so they could cross the dry ground of the Red Sea to the other side. But even after all of this incredible, all these different pieces of this salvation story, the Israelites' journey was far from easy because due to their own human fear, their own human doubt, which we all wrestle with and we all struggle with, they began to rebel, and so God told them that they would wander in the wilderness in the desert for 40 years before he was going to lead them into this beautiful promised land. And so it meant an entire generation of Israelites would grow up in the desert. They would have to learn to trust God step by step, and many of the original generation would never see the promised land. Now, during these 40 years, the Bible shares with us that the people of God experienced hardship, scarcity, and uncertainty. Who loves to live there? For 40 years, they were just hanging out in that wasteland space. They struggled with fear, they struggled with frustration, and what I find fascinating is at times they actually longed to go back to Egypt and become enslaved again. Because there's something about us humans we really like to know. We like this knowing piece, this certainty piece, and faith calls us into like blowing that all out of the water. You don't get to know and you don't get to be certain. Are you guys so excited? This is what we're invited into, this beautiful, beautiful mystery. But it's so much better. And so they started to experience these challenges, and their faith was tested, and they grew in patience, and they grew in all of the ways of following God. And they learned again and again and again that God is faithful over and over, even when they couldn't see the outcome of how things would turn out. Now, at the beginning of Joshua chapter 4, the Israelites are ready to enter the promised land. But there's just this one last obstacle. The Jordan River stands between them and entering into the promise that God had for them. And so it's at that moment, standing in front of the Jordan, that God asks them to pause. And he asks them to remember what he has done. And he asks them then to take a step of faith together into the Jordan. Nutso. But I thought I would invite us to do the same thing, to just take a minute, to pause, to remember what God has done this year. And so Matthew, who's the best creative arts pastor on the planet, was given about 8.2 seconds when I was like, hey, wouldn't it be cool? And he threw this together very quickly, but I would like to pause and take a minute to remember where we've been in 2025. So check this out. Well, goodness, it's always worth a pause, am I right? Something that Andy has said since the day that I met him was, hey, I really like you guys. I really like you people. And so when I watched that the first time, I thought, I really like these people. So, Andy, I'm stealing your Andyism. All right, so back to our story, because we're going to noodle on forward. They took a moment to pause and to remember. Israel has spent 40 years in the wilderness. And God asked them to just pause for a sec and look back on those years. 40 years of wandering, 40 years of learning who God is and who they are not. Learning about who they are in light of who God is. And now in the biblical narrative, Joshua tells us that they're standing at the edge of the Jordan River, which is this final barrier between this life of wandering and moving into this faithful promise being fulfilled. So really, this is a threshold text, and threshold texts are really important. They matter because they are places where we are tempted to rush forward without remembering, or to just stay back here in the wilderness without trusting for what's ahead. And so, as the story goes, the Jordan was full. It was rushing. It was overflowing onto the banks. And what happens in the narrative is that God stops the water from flowing so that people can cross safely. And this obviously was not something they could do on their own. And I want to really make this piece clear. I can't tell you how many conversations I have weekly with some of my hospice patients, and then also with just friends and family and church members, this idea that, like, what are we doing wrong? What more do we do? And yes, there's something to be said about being faithful with what God has given you, but so often it's this surrender, this rest piece that sort of unlocks God's movement. You know, he's already doing it. We're just learning how to participate with what he is doing. And that's hard work for us. We would much rather God say, like, okay, take 2 steps to the right, and then sit, and then sing the song, and then spin around. I'll be like, I'll do whatever you want, God. And instead he's inviting me into faithfulness. He's inviting me into wrestling. He's inviting me into struggling. He's inviting me into mystery. And it's wildly beautiful. It ends up being the best possible journey that we can enter into, but sometimes it scares us, so we stay on the other side of the river instead of moving forward. So, as they are crossing the river, God gives Joshua a fascinating instruction. He says, I want you to take 12 stones from the riverbed, and I want you to carry them over to the other side. So let's read through this text. This is Joshua chapter 4, 1 through 7. When the entire nation had finished crossing over the Jordan, the Lord said to Joshua, select 12 men from the people, 1 from each tribe, and command them. Take 12 stones from here, out of the middle of the Jordan, from the place where the priest's feet stood. Carry them over with you, and lay them down in the place where you camp tonight. Then Joshua summoned the 12 men whom he had appointed from the Israelites, 1 from each tribe. Joshua said to them, pass on before the ark of the Lord your God into the middle of the Jordan, and each of you take up a stone on his shoulder, according to the number of the tribes of the Israelites, so that this may be a sign among you. When your children ask in time to come, what do those stones mean to you? Then you shall tell them that the waters of the Jordan were cut off in front of the ark of the covenant of the Lord. When it crossed over the Jordan, the waters of the Jordan were cut off. So these stones shall be to the Israelites a memorial forever. Now, I want you to notice what God instructs. He's communicating that when the kiddos in your midst ask what is happening with the stones, I want you to tell them what I did. I want you to communicate and share with them who I am and what I have done for you. The Hebrew concept behind this is closely related to this word zakar, which means to remember. But zakar is active. So it's not just about thinking about something in your head and going back and thinking about your year, your 2025 year, and remembering something. Zakar is embodied. It's lived. It's when what you remember has actually transformed and changed the way that you move and breathe. It's a kind of remembering that really transforms your life. So God is saying to the Israelites, notice what I have done. Carry it with you and let it guide you and to walk in this obedience, to hope in what's to come. But if we don't sort of stop and check out where we have been, we can't actually carry that remembrance with us. So we all have stones from 2025, moments where we saw God provide, moments where we noticed his movement, where he carried us, where he helped us, moments we survived, even when it was really challenging. And so if we don't pause and name them, if we don't zakar them, then we risk walking into a new season, we risk walking into a new year without the encouragement and the hope that we really need to take these next steps. So there's something that I would like you to do this week. If you can find some time, just a moment in your car before you go to bed, in the morning with your coffee, I would love for you to take a moment and name two or three or four of those stones from your year. You can write them down, you can share them with someone you love, but I want you to have these sort of tangible reminders of what God has done and how he has been faithful to you. What has he taught you? Where has he grown you? Matthew, also with about 3 seconds of notice, created some cards in the shape of some stones with lines on them. So you can pick a few of those up as you walk out today, and you can carry them with you in your week. I would love for you to do this on your own before New Year's Eve, just to take a minute and honor God with a few moments to say, what did you do this year? And what is it that I need to take on from these memories into next year? What have you taught me? Now, as the narrative continues, God tells Joshua to choose 12 men, right? One from each tribe, and each of them are going to pick up a stone from the middle of the riverbed. So 1 stone per tribe, 1 stone per person that's walking into the river, and no one carries another person's stone. No one tells another person what those stones should mean or which stone they should pick up. You guys tracking here? This is both a communal activity, it's a collective, but it's also deeply, deeply personal. It's a deeply personal moment in the text. Faith is not a solo project, but neither can it be outsourced. We don't do this thing alone, but also you have to do a part of it alone. It's like we individually get swept up into the gospel narrative, and then we are brought into this family and this collective, and we move together. And so we can walk together, but we can't cross for each other. We can bear witness, but we actually can't carry someone else's testimony as our own. We have our own story. It's a beautiful piece of the narrative. And the other part of the story is that each one of these stones comes from the place that that person stood in the riverbed. And I do want to slow down here just for a minute, because it's really easy to over-spiritualize these stories in Scripture, like really easy. And I don't want to do that here, because I think these stones are not just these like symbolic pebbles. They are heavy riverbed stones, you know? I think it's up like, yeah, I love this background that Matthew chose. Imagine picking that up and that being your stone, and you have to awkwardly carry it, and it's heavy, and it's a burden. It is a burden, and they would pick these stones up, and they would carry them on their shoulder. What God invites us to remember is not always light. So you may sit, and you may look at your 2025, and you may not have a whole lot of like, oh my gosh, aha, this is where the Spirit of God was moving. You might look back and be like, man, it's been a really heavy year. But we survived it. Yay. We're here, right? So some of you, I think, are carrying stones from this past year that are shaped by grief and loss, like I had mentioned. And some of you are carrying these stones that have been shaped by prayers that have really had to change form throughout the year because direction wasn't coming. And still God says, carry it. Carry the stone. Don't be crushed by it. But it's important to remember who's meeting you while you are carrying it. God is communicating that the stones are not primarily for nostalgia, because he's saying, hey, these stones matter because your kids are going to notice them and your kids are going to ask you questions. And I don't know if you know kids, but they do that. They notice and they ask questions, and they're very curious. I think, man, our student ministry, they are delightfully curious. They ask the hardest questions. They are not messing around. They don't have 30 years of life experience. They're just like, hey, this is dumb. What's this? And then all the adults in the room are like, in time you'll learn it's okay, just trust God. Let go, let God, right? And they're like, that's the dumbest answer. I want a better answer, right? They'll wrestle, they'll get in it. And I love that. Kids are the same way. I think kids say the most unfiltered things. In fact, Anna and Tyler's son said the most unfiltered thing to me today in my office, and it made me laugh right out loud. So I won't share it up here, but you guys, it was money. It was one of those things that I'm going to have to journal later because it was hilarious. But kids are awesome. And God knows kids are going to ask questions. And so these stones are not for nostalgia. They're primarily for questions. God is assuming here, and he is knowing here, that children will notice, they will be curious, and they will be faithful to stop and pause and provoke a conversation. And he assumes the same thing about us, about you and me. He is expecting that we will be curious, that our faith will provoke questions, not just answers. God assumes that we're going to pause long enough to say, what in the world were you doing here? What were you trying to teach me? Where were you in this? How am I supposed to take this, and then how now shall I live with this as a part of my story? What do you have for me in the next year? What are the next steps looking like? So the stones are not just reminders of the past, but they're invitations really to engage, I think, with God now, to reflect, to wrestle, to question. And I think it gives us a picture of God's faithfulness sort of in real time, right here, right now. And so he's asking for us to do that today. He's asking for us to slow down, to look around, and to recognize God has been with me, God has carried me, and God is now calling me forward into a new chapter, a new year. Now, I want you to notice what the story is not. The story is not a narrative that's communicating, look at what we have done. Look at how strong we are. Look at what we survived. High five. We are awesome. That is not what this narrative is. The narrative is your kids are going to notice some stones, and they're going to say, what is this? And you're going to say, God carried me through the raging waters of the Jordan River. He did this miraculous thing where he dried up the waters. This is who our God is. Our God is faithful. How little is this narrative about us? This narrative is about who God is and how he loves us. So the story is the Lord dried up the waters of the Jordan until all of us crossed over. The stones don't erase the wilderness. They don't ignore the pain or deny it, and they don't pretend the journey was easy, but they simply say that God was faithful, even in the raging waters of death. God is faithful. Some of you really need to hear this. You need to hear the fact that you don't owe anybody a polished testimony. You do not owe anybody a story that's been sanitized to make God look good. I've talked to quite a few of you in the room, and some of your stories are very, very painful, very traumatic, heartbreaking stories of trauma and loss and grief. You do not have to shine those things up to make God look amazing. That's not necessary, especially in this place, in a family of faith where we work actively to make sure you can participate where you are in your faith. You don't have to be anywhere else. So no need to shine up and brush up. Now, there's a detail in this story that I think often gets overlooked, and I think what I'm fascinated by is that those stones are moved and they're set up in Gilgal where they camp, and everybody can see them. But verse 9 tells us something else. Verse 9 tells us that Joshua also sets up stones in the middle of the river. And so that's where they sit today, but it's no longer dry ground, it's river. So they're invisible, and they're buried under the river, submerged by water. Those stones are known only to God. And this detail is very holy to me because I think not every act of faith becomes a story that you get to share. Some of those things are private. Not every miracle becomes public. Not every crossing gets witnessed. And so some moments are between you and God alone. Those holy moments, those prayers that nobody knew you prayed, the boundaries that nobody saw you holding, the integrity and the obedience that felt really costly and very quiet. But God remembers those things, even when nobody else knows them. When nobody else knows what you're walking through or what you've done. God is so very proud of you and the way that you've honored him in those choices. Now, there's one more detail that I don't want us to miss. The priests do not leave the river until every single person has crossed. They stay. They don't leave when the strongest have made it, or the fastest, or the ones who are the most confident and have the most tricks and talents. They stay until every single person has crossed safely, and that is the point. God's faithfulness is not just for the capable, it's not just for the bold, it's not for those who have it all together. It is not reserved for those who seem ready or strong enough. God's presence through the priests, through his spirit, through his power, remains until all of the people have made it through and crossed to the other side. No one is forgotten. No one is dismissed. No one is left behind. God's miracles are for the entire community, even the slowest, even those that don't get it. They don't even know why they're crossing this river. I'm not even sure how I got swept into this mass of people. Here I am, crossing this river. The story is about a God that does not abandon the slow or the afraid. It's a story about a God who does not rush the wounded. If you are wounded this morning, you get to be. You get to take some time and live in that place for a season. The presence of God remains in that river until every person has crossed. And so if you're someone who feels behind, if you're ending this year and you think, I'm behind spiritually, I'm behind physically, I'm behind relationally and socially, I'm behind, feeling overwhelmed, behind financially, God is still standing with you. Joshua chapter 4 ends with this verse. So that all the peoples of the earth may know that the hand of the Lord is mighty, and so that you may fear the Lord your God forever. And so this is how we close our year. Not by rushing into what's next, not by pretending that the past didn't shape us, because it has. We pause. We look back. What waters did God carry me through this year? What crossings tested me and stretched me and reshaped me? And what stones do I need to start carrying with me and embodying in my story as reminders as I move forward in the hope that's to come, as I enter into the promised land? Some of you are standing on the edge of something new. You're really ready to step forward into that promised land. Some of you are mid-river, unsure of how you're actually going to get across. You're tired. You're a little worn out. You're still into it. You're still like eye on the prize, but it's been a tough year. And some of you haven't even started crossing. You're waiting for sort of the stars to align or something to shift before you choose and you risk to participate in what God has for you. And that's okay. God is so patient. God is so kind. God is faithful in the waiting. Before Israel moves into the promised land and builds cities and builds a temple for God's presence to dwell in, before they fight battles, before they make plans, God asks them to remember, to pause, and to take notice. And so as we step into 2026, we get to pause and we get to ask some questions ourselves. So I'm going to invite Andy up to the stage. Andy's our executive pastor, if you don't know him. And we kind of want to just chat briefly about what's ahead and what are we hoping for, what waters are we anticipating. And we just kind of want to chat for a brief moment about what's ahead for 2026.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
This guy.
So as I was listening to your talk, I was thinking about a few things. I've been around for quite some time, as these two have as well. I've been around here a long time, and I was thinking about, in relation to this crossing the river on dry ground, this was actually not the first time that this took place.
That's right.
In the Bible. This was the second time. The first time was around 40 years before that. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're the scholar.
Keep going. Keep going.
When they were coming out of slavery, right?
Yes.
And God was faithful. He parted the river or the sea or whatever, and the Israelites passed through safely.
Yep.
And in relation to how we're ending this year, a little disappointed perhaps, or whatever, it's a good, helpful reminder to think back on God's faithfulness. And if you are on our email list, you got this email the other day from me. And we're doing some things. We're making some changes as we move into 2026. But one of the things we're doing is we're asking you to partner with us as church members to the church organization, and we're asking you to do that in the way of a loan. Loan the church some money, and everybody will win in the long run. So we're going to pay you back with interest, and the church will have the necessary resources to weather the storm and move forward after making some of these changes. So, and the thing about the river parting is that's not the first time we've done that. So I've been around since 2003, but in 2010 we found ourselves here at the Rock in bankruptcy. We're not there anymore. We're not there this time by any stretch, but and the church was able to do a similar thing where they raised money from the congregation, and was able to right the ship and move forward. And so that's what we're asking you to do. And so if you are somebody in the audience who has already pledged, let's talk a little bit further about how to move that ball forward. And if you haven't and you're interested, come find either one of us after service right out in the lobby. We'd love to meet with you and talk with you about that, because the future is bright. There are so many exciting things to happen in 2026. We've been talking about and planning for and all that stuff, and we kind of got sidetracked a little over the last couple of weeks, but there's some good stuff. Tell us what's going on in 2026.
Yeah, another thing that's pivoted for just the teaching plan is I originally had told you guys that I was going to begin a series through the book of Psalms. And through some changes over the last month, I have shifted gears because I feel like God is leading us into a season of formation. And so we live in the Old Testament quite a bit because you guys know I love Hebrew. I'm sorry. Ugh. So I figured we would start the new year in some New Testament and give some Greek a shot. And we're going to talk through the questions that Jesus asks us. Like, do you want to be made well? Who do you say I am? Where is your faith? And we're going to start unpacking some of those questions right on up to Ash Wednesday, and then we're going to move into a really beautiful, series as we move up to Easter. So we've got some good stuff coming for you. Psalms is on hold, but you're going to get it. It's just not going to come next week. So we're going to listen to Jesus. I would like Jesus to begin to form us as a community. And so we're going to sit with some Jesus starting next week. Yeah.
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
And I really like you people.
Totally. Hey, let me pray for you. And then we're going to do a song. And then I have one more final word at the end of that song to share with you. So let me pray for you. God, thank you so much for this church family. Thank you for their faithfulness. God, their faithfulness to this community through so many transitions and so many ups and downs. And I've been here for just a few years, but for those that have been here for so long that call this church home and have been the foundation and the pillars of this community, God, I say thank you. I just say thank you for their faithfulness and their endurance and their kindness. And so, God, as we close this service with this song, we want to offer you all of the glory. In Jesus' name, amen. You're welcome to stand if you'd like. Should nothing of our efforts stand, no
we survive unless the Lord does raise the house in vain. Its builders strive. Do you boast tomorrow's gain? Tell me, what is your life? A mist that vanishes at dawn. All glory be to Christ. All glory be to Christ our King. All glory be to Christ. His rule and reign will never cease. All glory be to Christ. His will be done, His kingdom come on earth as is above. Who is Himself our daily bread? Praise Him, the Lord of love. Let living water satisfy the thirsty without price. We'll take a cup of kindness, yet all glory be to Christ. All glory be to Christ our King. All glory be to Christ. His rule and reign will ever sing. All glory be to Christ. On the day the great I am, the faithful and the true, the Lamb who was for sinners slain is making all things new. Behold, our God shall live with us and be our steadfast light, and we shall bear His people be. All glory be to Christ. All glory be to Christ our King. All glory be to Christ. His rule and reign will ever sing. All glory be to Christ. All glory be to Christ our King. All glory be to Christ. His rule and reign will ever sing. All glory be to Christ. All right, you guys, as we close this morning, I want to share with you a piece of my favorite end of the year poem. I spend time reflecting on this poem every single year on New Year's Eve, and its title is The Gate of the Year. It was written by Minnie Louise Haskins, and it says this: I said to the man who stood at the gate of the year, give me a light that I may tread safely into the unknown. And he replied, go out into the darkness and put your hand into the hand of God. That shall be to you better than light and safer than a known way. And so I went forth, and finding the hand of God, I trod gladly into the night. If you guys need prayer, we're going to be up there. We'd love to pray for you, and I want to wish you a happy new year. We'll see you next year.